The big news for us yesterday was that Jonathan Taylor was going to be back at practice this week. Now, something that did come out late last night, I think it was around 7 o'clock, I saw it on Twitter, was that the Colts have decided to do a walkthrough on Wednesday. So his real first day of practice is going to be Thursday, but I'm sure he's going to be part of the walkthrough. I assume that's part of the process of getting him back in is doing a walkthrough. Also, trying to get guys healthy, right? We have guys with concussions, guys with different injuries. And on the injury front, Dallas Flowers was confirmed to have a torn Achilles. So we're going to be without him for the rest of the season, which is unfortunate, right? Second year guy. He was a great returner last year and finally had an opportunity to start. He did really well for us this year. Like he was doing great in that Rams game and then gets the injury, like barely moving too. That was what was crazy. He barely moved on the play. He just stepped, which is, puts it into reality, right? Like any of us at any time, we just be walking down the street. Achilles just decides, you know what, it's time to go. So unfortunate that he's going to be out for a season. Hopefully we can get him back next season and get him back looking the way he did this year. But in the meantime, the people stepping up are obviously going to be Juju Brents, Kenny Moore, and Jalen Jones. And it'll be interesting to see who they decide to put on the outside, right? Kenny Moore, when they use two corners, Kenny Moore has been the second corner with Dallas Flowers. Now that Dallas Flowers is going to be out, is it going to be Kenny Moore takes the one and Juju Brents takes the two? Or are they going to do Jalen Jones and Kenny Moore? Are they going to do Brents and Jalen Jones? Like, how is this all going to go? Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do. When the Colts line up in nickel, Kenny is still in the nickel spot, so we're going to see a lot of Jalen Jones and Juju Brents on the field together when we're in the nickel package. And it might be rough there for a little while, right? These are two young guys, right? Juju had a really good first game. He was less effective in the second game, but the good thing so far is Juju seems like a good tackler. We can depend on him to be able to make tackles on the outside if he needs to. But now Jalen Jones is going to have an opportunity to step in. They might go back to DJ Baker, but I think this is a perfect spot for, to show what the rookies can do, right? Jalen Jones had a really good preseason, had a really good training camp. So having him step in is an ideal situation. Juju Brents has already looked good. You have Kenny Moore there. So let the rookies get experience, right? We're doing the same thing with AR. Throw him in there, let him get the reps, let him get better on the fly. And he's gotten much better up to this point. So do the same thing with the corners, especially in today's NFL, right? No corner is going to be perfect. We're not going to expect these rookies to be complete shutdown corners. Just need to see them get better over time and see them do the right things over time. And with the way Jalen Jones looked in the preseason and the way that his teammates have talked about him and the coaches have talked about him, like I think Jalen Jones can be really good. I think he can show people that he's one of the steals of the draft. And by the end of the season, with as big as these guys are, like the potential that these corners have, like by the end of the season, if we're still able to win games, then they could be massive difference makers at the end of the season. Because I think both these guys have the potential to be lockdown corners in the NFL with their size, with their arms, right? Chris Bauer loves the long-armed athletes, and that's what he got in both of these corners in the draft. And I think again, by the end of the season, with the experience that they could get over that time, they could be exactly what the Colts need in order to make that defense complete, right? We know we have the pass rush. We know we have the linebackers. We just need the secondary to be locked down. And I think we have the guys that can do it. They just got to get the experience. And I think that starts this week, but we'll keep an eye on that to see, what's happening there throughout the week. But also on the injury front, Kwity Paye is in the concussion protocol. Coach Steichen said yesterday that Kwity Paye reported having symptoms after the game. And with the way the Colts have handled concussions so far this year, I'd kind of be shocked if Kwity Paye ended up playing next week. I guess we'll see how that goes. But just assume Kwity Paye's not going to be there. But the thing that comes from that is the fact that Dio Dangbo is somebody that we were looking at this year as somebody that could start becoming a star, right? But then we got Samson Ebicom. Samson Ebicom is starting, so Dio's more of a rotational piece right now. But Kwity Paye got a little banged up in the last game, And Dio ended up on the field quite a bit in the last game and had his best game as a pro, like by far. If you look at the stats, he had 8 total tackles. 5 of those were solo tackles. He had 4 quarterback hits, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection. Okay, absolute monster on the defensive front. In a game where the rest of the defensive front was lackluster compared to what we've seen over the first 3 games, right? And it seems like maybe the Rams made a conscious effort to run right at Dio, right? Since he's in there, he's not one of the starting 4. Maybe they were doing that. I haven't watched the film back. I'll have to see on that. But when it comes to like defensive grades, last week it was Juju Brents was the highest graded player on the Colts defense. This week it was Dio Dangbo with an 89.6 defensive grade, which was a team high by a wide margin. And to add to his stats, he also had 1 forced fumble in the game. So if Dio's going to be playing like that, then like missing Kwity Paye's been excellent. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, thank goodness, we're going to have Dio in the lineup. Not. Kwity Paye's been really good. Okay, but Dio Dangbo just showed that he can be really good too. And he's going to have plenty of one-on-one opportunities as long as DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Samson Ebicom are there on the defensive line. So it's not a big step down, which is exactly what we were hoping for. Right now, we're starting to get the depth on the defensive line. These guys are starting to come around like we were hoping they would. The previous regime just wasn't able to develop players. That's what we're seeing early in this season already. We're seeing that the previous regime just couldn't develop talent the way it was supposed to, because through the first 4 games, the guys that we needed to start stepping up are starting to step up. The one we're really waiting on right now is Alec Pierce. Okay. He had that 1 catch, even while the guy was holding on to his arm. He was able to catch that ball from Anthony Richardson and help us come back in that game. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see on Alec Pierce. All right. I'm holding out hope that he can be great. Although on the Alec Pierce front, I did see a clip yesterday. Somebody put an all 22 clip on Twitter and was showing something different. It was a Anthony Richardson completion to somebody in the middle of the field. But something else I saw in that play was that Alec Pierce hit a double move on somebody and was wide open while Anthony Richardson still had the ball in his hands, was running down. They were Rams playing cover 2 on that play. Safety went for the guy that Anthony Richardson ended up throwing the ball to near the middle of the field. Had Anthony Richardson seen Alec Pierce open on the outside and thrown that ball, Alec Pierce would have had like a 50-yard touchdown or something. It would have been a long one. So, there are times where he's getting open. Anthony Richardson's just got to find him. Hopefully we can see Alec Pierce start to really become a factor for us. And something else I want to mention before I get out of here, if you saw, the video yesterday talking about Jonathan Taylor, toward the end of that video, we were talking about, the giveaway. I just want to put it here in video form. If you're going to enter the giveaway, if you're going to subscribe, then you have to be publicly subscribed. And in order to do that, you have to go to your settings, go to privacy, and then select to turn off the option to keep all your subscriptions private. And the reason for that is because, I just can't, if it's private, I can't see if you're actually subscribed or not. If you choose not to do it, I'd understand that. Or, if you just wanted to, keep it open until, the giveaway happens and make it private again, that'd be cool too. But I do need to be able to see that you are subscribed. And again, to do that, it's settings, privacy, and then, one of the only things in there is the option to turn that off. All right. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. I'm sure there's going to be something that I put out a little later. I'm going to start going through the Colts film, see if I can pull anything out there to give to you guys this week. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get updated when any of those videos come out. And until next time, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.